News begins with breaking news.
A shock to the nation's high court. Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia has died. Known for his sharply worded dissents and attacks on liberalism, Scalia's death rattling American politics in a critical election year. Good evening, I'm Riel Creighton. Just hours after that news broke, top Republicans taking to Twitter vowing to keep President Obama from appointing a replacement. 10 News has complete coverage. Our political analyst offering insight into how this will impact an already charged election season. We'll begin with ABC News reporter Lana Zak in Washington, D.C. with the mark he left on the court.
Good evening. Justice Scalia's passing, his sudden death, has the potential to be a political game changer as the anchor of the court's conservative wing passes in the dusk of a liberal presidency.
Associate Justice Antonin Scalia was found dead of apparent natural causes at a resort in West Texas. He reportedly died in his sleep. Scalia was the longest-serving justice on the current United States Supreme Court, nominated by President Ronald Reagan in 1986.
Getting nominated to the Supreme Court is the culmination of a dream, of course, and I'm greatly honored that the president would have such confidence in me. And
he was confirmed unanimously by the Senate and became the first Italian-American member of the court. Scalia quickly became the anchor of judicial conservatism, fiercely at odds with what conservatives call judicial activism.
Through the sheer force of his personality, he, for 3 decades, led the conservative movement in American law to roll back the era of liberal activism.
Scalia, nicknamed Nino, was widely known for his high intellect, his elegant writing, and his caustic wit. Chief Justice John Roberts issued a statement calling his late colleague, quote, an extraordinary individual and jurist, admired and treasured by his colleagues. Anton Scalia leaves behind a wife and 9 children. He was 79.
And with Scalia's passing, there is already political jockeying. Some GOP leaders saying President Obama should not be the person to select Scalia's successor. Instead, they say the next president should have that honor. Reporting live from Washington, Lana Zak, ABC News. Back to you.
Political analyst John Dadian joining us now. John, we are already seeing some top Republicans, as you just heard, that have vowed to stop President Obama from being able to appoint the next justice. President Obama saying that he will do that. How likely is that to happen? How likely will they be able to prevent that?
I think very likely, because the actual rules procedures favor the Republicans, because the Republicans do have control of the Senate, and including in that control is the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, and he's the one that can decide whether or not it goes to the full floor or not, and you have to go to the full floor for confirmation.
Okay, we talked about the shock waves already that this is going to create on the court. It was morning, and then we're already talking about what this means for the future of the court. There were cases that Scalia heard, some very big cases while he was alive. What does this mean then?
Well, they can still continue. Again, the regulations are they can still continue and make decisions, although it'll be 8 people voting on it. But also, in addition to the cases already heard where Scalia was on the bench, there are some cases before their break that they haven't heard yet. So now they'll be hearing it with 8 justices. And then they take a summer break, and then they come back the first Monday in October. So if Republicans have their way, even when they come back into session, it'll still be a vacant seat.
Okay, the other big question, I mean, this is a highly charged election year. I don't need to tell you that. What does this mean for the campaign, for the next president? What does this mean?
Oh, clearly this is going to be one of the main issues now. We thought other things, possibly climate change, a few other issues might be the main issue on the 2016 presidential campaign. This is going to be the issue because, again, using Scalia as an example, whoever gets appointed by whomever will have an impact for decades to come. So clearly it's going to be the main issue throughout the summer.
John Dadian, thank you so much for your insight. Very good insight. We appreciate having you here.
Good to see you.
Well, good to see you too. As you just heard moments ago, President Obama remembered the life of Justice Scalia, saying he'll honor Scalia's commitment to the law.
I plan to fulfill my constitutional responsibilities to nominate a successor in due time. There will be plenty of time for me to do so and for the Senate to fulfill its responsibility to give that person a fair hearing and a timely vote.
Antonin Scalia served on the Supreme Court for almost 30 years. Now, every major development in this story, the minute that it happens, download the new free 10 News mobile app to find out when the nominees are named and when Scalia's replacement is chosen.